campground sold out? Let Arvie find you a site.
Hey, Guy here. Welcome back to Amore Van. Right now, Roseanne and I are enjoying a great week at Sebastian Inlet State Park on the Atlantic coast of Florida. But when we first tried to book this park, it was completely sold out, as the Florida state parks in the wintertime often are. So, how is it that we're here? Well, we're here thanks to Arvie, the first and only service that not only scans for campground cancellations, but also then books the site for you. In my view, it's a game changer. And this was not just an isolated incident. If you look over here, you'll see a list of recent campground bookings that we've gotten through Arvie, including Glacier National Park in season, Mount Rainier National Park in season, a very popular Oregon State Park in season, and 3 Florida state parks in season. And what all of these bookings have in common is this: in each instance, the campground was completely sold out when I first tried to book it. Right? But then I put the search into Arvie, and sometime later, sometimes days, sometimes weeks, I got the site through Arvie. I was so impressed with Arvie that I reached out to Arvie's founder and CEO, Mark Peterson, a fellow camper, to talk to him about Arvie and why he founded it and why you might be interested in it. And so I'm going to bring you that interview now. Remember to stick around to learn about how to get a 10% discount and for my demonstration on how to use Arvie.
Well, man, I was looking at your lineup of sold out searches that you've hit, and I'm like, that's nice there, man. I wish I could trade places with you.
We're so happy with it. My wife and I, we travel in an Embassy Dolphin Class B, which I'm sitting in right now. And I was going to be sitting outside at this beautiful campground, but it's really windy, and I was afraid the wind noise was going to interfere with our chat. So, as you know, since I guess, was this company your baby, or you were hired on as the CEO? Or
no, this is definitely my baby. I am one of you. I built this just because I couldn't believe it didn't exist. I built it for me. I built it for us. I had a file this thick, Guy, that I was compiling since 2015 when I bought our first RV of sort of my adult parent life, growing up as a kid doing a lot, and we started, we took off for our 5-week journey with our 2 teenagers, 2 dogs and a wife. And we left Charlotte, and our first kind of anchor spot was we had rented a house up in Denver in the mountains near where my wife's brother lived. And said, so we were checking in like 7 days later, said, well, let's head up to Colorado and check in 7 days and see where the highways take us, and what caverns we want to tour on the side of the road, or little towns we want to hit, or where the traffic's or weather's good. And boy, did I learn a quick lesson about how hard it is to find, compare, and book campsites, so compared to any other type of accommodation. So, and then when COVID hit, I just sold another business, and I just needed something to do. So I said, I'm just going to call some tech and legal buddies and start pulling on this string and figure out if I can figure out why the technology for booking campsites seems to be 25 years behind every other type of booking. And that became Arvie.
Yeah. And so I was so happy that we found it. What we found is that most of the time, particularly because we're in a Class B and therefore we can fit in just about anywhere, we don't have much for trouble finding spaces, except for when you get, as you know, for the really popular campgrounds, Florida state parks in the wintertime, or some of the top 5 or 6 national parks that can be a real bear to get a spot in. And I don't know whether it started with COVID or predated COVID, but there's this phenomenon that you probably recognize of people who aren't quite sure where they're going to go, what they're going to be doing. They make multiple conflicting reservations, and that ties everything up for a while. And so finding a way like Arvie to take advantage of when they cancel their reservations was a godsend. We were using some of the other sites that you're familiar with, which I won't name.
The alert, yeah, the alert,
yeah,
the alert only. Yeah,
and they're great. And I had some limited success with a couple of those with the campgrounds that were sort of I guess maybe you would call them second tier. Yeah, they're full, and then there's a cancellation, and maybe it takes a day for the cancellation to get filled. But there are other campgrounds, as you know, that there's a cancellation, and that notice goes out to all the people who are subscribing to those alert services, and then it's a matter of minutes or sometimes seconds before it gets booked. And if you don't happen to be sitting in front of your computer when that alert comes in, you're going to lose that race to someone else. And then
I was like you. Like I said, I was a member of those services too. But I could never win.
yeah.
Because of my schedule. Well, that's so. It's so satisfying to hear that, Guy, because like I said, I am one of you guys. I am from the camper, and that was always the trouble with me is why can't it just be booked? So that was the one of the multiple technology challenges we undertook to try to build the Arvie basic from you and me, from the camper backwards. Everything we did is to reverse engineer the weird world of the hopelessly disconnected websites out there for all the different parks, whether it's state, national, and various types of public, and just and build something that could be interfaced a lot better to start, and we hope to keep improving obviously as time goes on. So we're obviously always looking to improve in every way and expand to the number of campers.
Well, as you probably saw, you said you looked at my account. We've had great success with it. Recently gotten sites in otherwise sold out campgrounds where I tried to do the reservation myself at the appropriate time, 6 months ahead or 10 months ahead or whatever, depending on the campground, and got shut out. But since then, through Arvie, I was able to book into Glacier National Park, Mount Rainier National Park, three very popular state parks here in Florida where I am now, Sebastian Inlet, which is where I'm sitting right now.
Oh, cool. I know Sebastian Inlet. Yeah.
And Kissimmee Prairie, also here in Florida, and Blue Springs. And I'm sure I'm leaving something out, but
looks like you got Silver Falls.
Silver Falls. Yeah, that's a state park in Oregon that is very, very popular in the summertime. And
July.
We were shut out, and so my experience has been for those watching this video that sometimes it's a matter of a few days, and that's not unusual because people are making reservations right as they become available, and they're trying a couple or three alternatives, and then they get the one that they really wanted, and they quickly cancel the one that they didn't want. And so sometimes things become available quite quickly. Other times it's been weeks or even months, and then finally it pops up. And I think as those of us who travel in an RV know, sometimes those cancellations are last minute. And if you can be flexible or at least be in the area,
sure,
you can take advantage. We're here in Sebastian Inlet, for example, and online it shows up as full, but there are empty sites, which is a source of some frustration because people who don't, nothing we can any of us do about people who don't bother to cancel. I don't understand why they don't. They get money back if they do, but some people just don't show up. And the parks, even though they say if you're a no-show past the first day, they release your site. I had a ranger tell me that it's more trouble than it's worth for them to
that's the conversations I've had too, is that it's exactly that. It's just more headache than it's worth. And they don't really, they're not like a private campground that has an incentive where it matters to them whether that spot's empty or full that night, so it's
that's right. Well, and they're getting paid anyway. If they don't cancel it out, they're charging.
Exactly. It's
but in any event, we've really been thrilled with Arvie because because we've been able to book some sites that we otherwise couldn't have gotten into, and hope that continues. I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you something probably not going to be a surprise to you, that I said this to my wife. She's had mixed feelings about doing anything to make it more popular.
I've heard that, and I kind of get it, but where we are now is, we're a young company, need to grow, so we have strength in numbers. But I was doing the math. We have 4,000 campgrounds and over about 500,000 campsites, and if you put that against 365 days a year, that's 180 million opportunities of nights of camping that we have available to dole out amongst our members and find cancellations. And it is a quite wide inventory. And of course, there's always going to be a demand for, the Bahia Hondas and the Fisher Creeks, and all those, incredible places. But it's still Arvie, because of really the reasons you were just talking about a minute ago, because it has such versatility for, like I always say, whether it's last minute or next year's bucket list trip or anything in between. I mean, we're booking an unbelievable range of different types of sites, both in, terms of number of nights and distance to the arrival date, from the date of the booking. We have actually about, I think it's 46%. Was the last stats I looked at, of our bookings are for arrivals which are 90 days or more from the date of the booking.
And I think what
large ponderance, and a lot of the bigger ones, like the 7, the 10, the 14-day stays, those are almost all at least 4, 5, 6 months out. I just booked one in Curry Hammock yesterday for 2 weeks straight, from next January 14th to the 18th.
Well, I think a lot of people don't realize just how many cancellations occur all the time. People's plans change, or like I said, I think a lot of people just double book because they're not quite sure where they're going to wind up, and they wind up canceling. And I think some people, they go and look to try to get a reservation, and they see it's full, and they sort of give up, and they don't realize that services like Arvie are out there. Really, Arvie is the only one I know of that will actually book the site.
Well, you know why that is because we are the only one that will book. There is no other.
So I hope for
Thank you for that little plug, by the way.
That's right. I mean, if there was another one, I would have found it. And I hope for your sake you've got a patent in there somewhere. But I think maybe I had a couple of questions for you that came to mind, because, for example, my wife and I were just at a where were we? At Topsail Hill Preserve in Florida, where I was fortunate enough to get a reservation on my own.
Okay.
And we were talking to a couple that was expressing frustration about reservations. I told them all about Arvie, and she took a lot of notes and so forth. But the first question she asked was a question that had come to my mind, which is, you must have some kind of protocol or algorithm in your system that deals with multiple customers of yours who are looking for the same place at the same time. And I said, well, my guess is first come, first serve, but maybe it's more complicated than that.
Well, you and I think a lot alike. So that mean when I came down to it, that's all I could come up with is who first come, first serve. So they run on the scans run on certain intervals, and some people, even if they're an annual member where we're scanning every 2 minutes versus every 5 minutes, if the 2-minute scan has just happened 15 seconds ago,
right,
and the 5-minute scan happened 4 minutes and 55 seconds ago, and the reservation comes up, then that monthly member on the 5-minute interval will get it ahead of the 2-minute person, because their scan won't find it. They might never find it because we already booked it.
Right.
So really, it's just what I try to do is just be completely impartial and just try to say, Arvie members, we try to be your best shot to get the spot. We can't guarantee anything, but what we can guarantee is fairness, is that, so like certainly, in the winter, every time there's a Bahia Honda cancellation or a Curry, we're going to have more than one, alert on our booking system that it's transferred over there, and it just is a matter. I mean, everyone is numbered. It's just like which scan found it first, and we run that one. And but what's interesting though is we'll run them all immediately, and a lot of times, if it's a 7-day opening, we find somebody. This person might be looking for these 2 days. This person might be looking for these 3. So we piece them together a fair amount, just because of the way it shakes out. But yeah, there's nothing I could ever really come to as a business I could get comfortable with anything other than just, hey, you gotta give everybody a fair chance.
And all of what you've just mentioned is all happening in a matter of seconds, right?
Oh yeah, it's like less than a second before it comes over to our booking team, and then we start that process.
Right. Now, there was a change recently because my membership is old enough that some bookings were done for me prior to the first of the year, and some bookings were done for me more recently, and the change that I've experienced is that the bookings now that I get through Arvie are being made directly with my booking accounts, whether it's recreation.gov or the state parks or what have you, whereas previously you were doing it in one of your own accounts and then simply listing the customer as the primary occupant. And, what drove that change? Yeah, I like it much better this way because then I can modify it. I can shrink the time. I can add my senior discount pass and all those great things.
All of the above, right? Yeah. So it started off, again, as I mentioned early on, when I built Arvie, I reverse engineered everything to just fit the way the world was so that the camper could have a better experience. And early on, it was quite obvious that you could book on behalf of somebody else as a primary occupant. And that was a more efficient process for us to win basically the races involved in booking, to do it in our own accounts. But eventually, we realized how many disadvantages that was, such as we couldn't let the member have their control of their own reservation. Mm-hmm. And then we started hearing some stuff from Florida parks in particular, and some up in Colorado, where they wanted to have the person in the site also be the owner of the reservation. And a lot of their concern was like if there's a force majeure event, like if there's a tornado coming, a hurricane, right. If they only have you as a primary occupant, that that wasn't enough information to do like the kind of full reach out that they might want to do in an extreme situation. And I had some really good dialogues with the head of the Florida department, and I said, yeah, I totally get that, I understand, but we built it the way we did, and so we talked and we worked out, and it made sense for us to make that transition to booking as you instead of booking for you, because it does give you the control of having your own accounts, of your own discounts. It was very difficult for us to say, this person's a first responder, this person is a senior citizen, this person is disabled, this person is a state resident or common, just all the discounts for the same reason that it's so hard, because there's so many different platforms that don't talk. It became hard to give people their fair shake and their fair situation the way we were doing it. So we decided to just invest in doing it this way, where we could give the control and the ownership of the reservation back to the member, and just be, that basically a third party administrative I don't know what the word, a third party administrator, if you will, of your account. Right. So, to make your bookings, and it seems to be, I would love to hear your personal feedback as a camper. If there's anything, how you feel about that process, the old one versus the new one.
Oh, well, I didn't have any real difficulty with the reservations that were made under the old process. I only had 2 of those, including this one that I'm at now. Having said that, the new process makes me much more comfortable, particularly for things like recreation.gov. Those of us who are over 62, we're paying half price for camping. And so the ability to be able to go in and add that discount number after the fact is important. And also to without having to go through you guys, maybe change the arrival date or change the departure date or those kinds of things. Right?
And that really factored into it too, is just given that flexibility, because we work hard to try to, and I think we did a good job of doing all those changes, but to have all those changes for everybody all over the country, bottlenecked in one place didn't make sense either, and it wasn't a good long-term model as we grow. So
No, it
do
would have
that.
been terribly cost inefficient
You
for you
you
guys.
may be interested to know too that Florida, wonderful guy works up in the Florida Department of Natural Resources, that I've been working with, Jake Hines. He's kind of there right as of January 1 of this year. We can't book any new reservations the way that your current one is working, where we own the account, and as you probably, like, they won't accept them anymore. But he has grandfathered all of ours in for the year.
Yeah.
And we've worked together closely with Florida. We have a really good relationship. So I think with that, I think they appreciate that, we help fill their parks with a lot of out-of-staters and bring tourism to Florida. Like, how many people I've talked to, wow, I'm going to, whether it's down to the Keys or Topsail or Henderson Beach or, wherever it is, that hey, we just can't believe we're going there. And now we're going to Florida. So,
And I think your service is going to be that much more important here in Florida going forward, because as you know, as of the first of the year, we out-of-staters here in Florida, we've got to wait 30 days to make a reservation after the Florida folks have had their crack. And that means that really, I think people out of state are going to be more and more dependent upon cancellations. We're never going to get it the first go around.
But isn't it the truth? You mostly weren't anyway. I mean, the really good, the really good places are 10. It's like a Taylor Swift concert, right? As soon as the dates are released, 10 minutes later, it's sold out for all the reasons you said about 15 minutes ago. Let's get everything we can, and we'll figure out what we want to do and cancel the rest.
That's right. I'll give a little bit of plug to Florida parks by saying there are a lot of very fine Florida parks that you can get a reservation for. It's just that they're those really popular ones that everybody wants that are hard. Yeah, everybody wants to go to the Keys. Everybody wants to be on the water.
That actually brings me to a point I wanted to circle back, because it's near and dear to my heart about how Arvie's going to be successful. And that you said your wife jokingly said, "Oh, I don't want anybody else to know." And really, that's part of what Arvie is because there's so many different ways to use it. It's just the convenience of doing a one-click booking when there is availability. It's the convenience of being able to have, like you said, Bahia Honda, and then also Curry Hammock either next year or tomorrow night. So there's so many uses for different people to use it that I don't think that I don't think there's ever going to be a complete shortage of campsites. I know there's definitely going to be some that are always sought after, but they're always sought after anyway. So it's no different as they are normal than for us. It's just sort of the same thing.
And you mentioned something that might not be top of mind for some people listening to this, and that is that in addition to the feature that really brought us to Arvie, which is the sold out search feature.
Sold out search with Autobook,
it's also just a one-stop booking site if you want. In other words, I can decide to use that to book at various places by only having to go to one website and put in a search for sites that are available right now. Right?
Yeah, that was actually the original use case for Arvie, was to kind of be that kayak of camping where you could go to one site and figure out what was going on the others. That similar model. So yeah, I mean the notion of just being able to go and look at a lot more parks and then book them quite efficiently without having to go to all the different types of websites and put in all the same information. That was really the core value proposition. And then when we learned that our technology could be used to also constantly scan and find those cancellations like some of the alert sites do, married it to our booking process, that was really what where sold out search with Autobook came to life, and has certainly proven to be a stellar part of our launch.
And I think maybe there's something that's important for people to understand, because alarm bells might go off in some people's minds if they don't understand exactly how Arvie works. So I'm going to give you a chance to address it. If people are listening to us and they have this reaction that somehow you're reselling or scalping campsites, that's not the case. And why don't you explain
Yes.
why it's not the case?
Yes, thank you for that. And I do, because it's a very easy mistake to make, and a lot of people do make it ever since we've launched. But to be clear, Arvie has never ever made a booking that wasn't, not a single one, that wasn't in a direct response to a customer request at a specific park on specific dates for their specific filters of their specific rig. And as you know, using their own credit card to pay for it. We have never purchased a reservation for our own and then distribute it to another person, and we never will. As a camping enthusiast like you and all of our members and everybody watching this, that I find that to be reprehensible. Like, I just would never engage in that. I'd never tolerate it. So we are simply your refresh button.
Right.
And then we're also the person who's going to, fill in all those pages so that you can find, get the reservation if you get it in the basket. But we do not buy a site for any other purpose than for a specific customer's request. And then further, even when we were handling all the cancellations, we've never not canceled. We throw it right back into the sea, so everybody else has an equal chance. We don't try to see who else might have a reservation, a sold out search going with that same campground of those dates. We don't even have a way to do that.
Right.
So we just cancel it, put it back. Again, we are really, you can look at Arvie as, you pay our monthly fee, it's $19.95 a month, which can be paused, or it's $149 a year for the whole year. And the $149 gets you 10 sold out scans that run every 2 minutes, and the monthly gets you 5 that run every 5 minutes.
So it's a pure pass through. You're not warehousing sites.
Yes.
You're not selling them at a profit.
Nope.
You're charging a fee for the service of, as you say, being the refresh button, for the service of
I was gonna say, so once you're a member, you can think of us as your third party administrator. We're your private. We're running your account on your behalf more efficiently than you ever could. I do want people to know that Arvie is simply, trying to use technology to help people overcome the barriers of, that, again, just that terribly disconnected, really flawed system of California has to have their own, Florida has to have their own. These people are on RegGov, these people, Reserve America. So it's just simply a function of technology to help that, and it's not anything other than that. So I kind of look at Arvie as a great American business. So like Steve Jobs once said, if you want to build a great American business, build it out of convenience and make it reliable. And, that's kind of what we've said, of taking a nasty, frustrating, time consuming process and try to simplify it. And then I think the thing about Arvie that is most passionate, personal to me, is to create these incredible, near impossible journeys for people that weren't possible before, and really change the entire outlook of why you own an RV, and what potential memories that you can make are possible, or trips you can take. Like, we're really making a big difference to people, and in how their camping life plays out, and how it fits into their whole life as a positive, and making it more so. And that we really enjoy that part of it, our whole team.
Well, you've certainly helped us, and we're really enjoying the service, and no doubt in my mind that when my year is up, I'll be re-upping, and because it's been so successful for us. You said something, and I want to give you an opportunity to clarify, because I think it could be misunderstood when you were talking about the pricing. You mentioned 5 sold out searches or 10 sold out searches, but people need to know that's 5 or 10 simultaneous searches.
Perpetually, 24/7, 365.
Right. In other words, I could have in the course of a year, many more than 10. I just can't have 10 running at the same time.
That's right. Thank you for pointing that out. That is very right. It's 10 at all times. And if you notice that the way I have them labeled, I have them idle or active.
Right.
So you should always keep them active.
Yeah.
The other thing we like to say is, you should always keep Arvie always looking and always booking for you, whether it's for next week, next month, or next year. We can always be looking and always be booking for you.
All right. Well, so I'm going to let you have the last word to both, obviously, your people who are going to be seeing this on your social media, and the people watching this on Amore Van, our YouTube channel. What do you want them to know about Arvie? Why should they give you guys a look beyond what you and I have said already.
Sure. I mean, RV was built by a camper for a camper. I mean, the problems we solve are the problems that everyday campers solve. That if you have frustration with the way the system works in terms of not being able to ever get a reservation at those truly treasured state and national parks that people really want to go to and experience in their life, RV is your best shot to get the spot every day. All day. RV members book the hardest to get campsites in America. We really do take a great deal of pride in delivering a tremendous service. I would ask people to read our Google reviews and see how we treat our customers and the type of experiences we deliver. And we have a no questions asked. Money. If anybody's disappointed or let down with what we've done, we'll refund what portion of the membership's left. We have a free trial, so it's absolutely risk-free for folks to give us a try and see if we are a good fit for them. And so we hope that we can create more really incredible special camping opportunities for a whole lot more campers. And we really appreciate you taking the time to get to know us and helping us spread the word. And also your own personal success with it is like I said, is very inspiring to us to keep going.
All right. Well, thanks. Great meeting you, Mark, and thank JR as well for setting this up for us. And I really enjoyed this chat. And I'll say again for anyone who's listening, it's a fabulous service, and we've had such great success with it. And I don't think it's something any RVer who travels a lot and wants to go to popular campgrounds should be without. So.
Cool.
So thanks for founding the company, and I wish you enormous success.
Thank you, Guy. Appreciate it very much.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed my interview with Mark Peterson as much as I did. As you could tell, Mark is a camper who saw a need and built a company to fill that need, and I think it's a great service that's well worth it. So now, as promised, let me tell you two things. One, how can you get a discount on Arvie? Well, if you follow the link that you'll see in the description of this video and in the comments, that will allow you to sign up for Arvie, and you'll receive a 10% discount over the first year of service. Now let me, as I said, give you a quick demonstration of how Arvie works. So first, what you're seeing here is a screen where you go in and you put in the dimensions of your particular rig. So you see here, since I have an Embassy Class B, I've put in Class B, I've put in the length at 22 feet. I've said that I don't have slide outs, I'm not towing anything, and I don't need a pet-friendly site. The next thing I do when I'm setting up my account is I enter the log information for my accounts at the various prominent campsite reservation services. So, for example, Florida State Parks, or Recreation.gov, or Reserve America, and there are some other states on the list as well. You're just not seeing them in this screenshot. And I only have to set that up once. So now let me give you a little demonstration of how Arvie works. It starts at this search screen. So let's say I want to go to Glacier National Park. I'm going to type that in here. Glacier National Park pops up. I select it. And I'm going to put in the dates I want to go. And let's say I want to go in the middle of the busy time. So I'm going to say August 2nd, August 1st to 8th. I hit Start Search. And it's going to show me a screen with all of the campgrounds in the Glacier National Park area. Now let's say I'm interested in camping inside the national park at Apgar Campground. I happen to know which one that is. I click on it here. But before I click check availability, I've forgotten to put in my search parameters up top. I already have the date, And I just have to check that I've got my 2 adults, I've got a Class B, 22 feet, and electric hookup I don't need, so I'm going to use the drop-down menu here to select no preference. And same with water hookup. I'm going to say, any. I don't care if it has a water hookup, and I certainly don't care if it has a sewer hookup. Of course, if I did care about those things, I'd have to set the parameters differently. It looks like I've lost my little availability search window, so I go back down and select the AppGuard Campground again. That window will pop back up, and now I can click on check availability. And as I really already knew, it being August, it's a busy season, August of 2024, AppGuard Campground is already sold out. So now I'm going to click this little button that says Start Sold Out Search. That brings up this window where I have a last chance to double check that all my parameters are correct, including my dates and my hookup requests and so forth. And I could, if I wanted to, set it to simply notify me when there's an opening, but that's not what I want. The whole reason I'm on Arvie is I want it to book the opening if it finds it. Once again, checking my parameters, and now I'm ready to go ahead and initiate the search. Now I'm not actually going to click this button at this time because I'm not interested in performing this search, but that's how I would do it if I wanted Arvie to run a sold out search for me. Of course, what I'm hoping for is that eventually I get an email like this one that I got when I was searching for a spot at Florida's Blue Springs State Park, which was sold out when I first tried to book it. But eventually someone canceled and Arvie grabbed the spot for me. Okay, there you have it. Don't forget, the link is in the description and the comments for a 10% discount if you would like to sign up for Arvie and be able to book sold out campgrounds yourself. As always, if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and think about subscribing to our channel by clicking the Amore van icon that you're seeing popping up right now.
We hope you found this helpful, and we'll see you next time here at Amore Van.